Hi guys, welcome back to another episode here on Cancer Free Cree. Today we are going to be making some bean and rice burrito bowls. I just had a good workout and I don't know about you, but after I work out I am starving, and it is super important to nourish your body and your muscles after you've worked out. So obviously we want to feed it the right stuff. We don't want to not eat, but we want to eat good stuff that's going to really give our body nice nourishment, energy, and it's going to fuel us the rest of the day and feed our muscles that have just worked really hard for us. So we have our brown rice, which is an amazing grain. It is better than white rice in the sense that it's going to have all the fiber and the germ intact, which is going to keep you fuller for longer and is going to be better for your digestive system. White rice can be great if it's combined with proteins and fats, but keep in mind that it can spike your blood sugar when eaten alone, which is going to cause that super high and that super big crash. It's going to make you just starving and crawling for more food or sugar or carbs or whatever it is. So brown rice is a better option when you have the opportunity. And in addition to that, we're going to do some marinated chickpeas, a little bit of black beans, and then a homemade guacamole and some other fresh toppings on top. So I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be delicious. So first things first, we're going to make our guacamole. So I love avocado. I think it might be my favorite food. I eat usually 1/2 to 1 avocado every single day. It is a source of fat, but it also is a source of protein and good unsaturated fats. Fats can be really good for you if you eat the right ones, and avocado is one of them. So I just have here 1/2 of an avocado, and that's what I'm going to use for my guacamole. So to peel, you could do a few different things. Guacamole or mashing it up so it doesn't have to be pretty, but one trick that I like to show people is that you can actually remove the skin from an avocado very easily by giving just a little slice in the top here, and then you just peel away the skin. And it can't be too ripe. If it's too ripe, then it's not going to peel away nicely. But voila! I just took off the whole skin. We have our whole avocado, which is great for when you're making like pretty avocado slices to put on things. But we are just gonna mash ours today, but I thought you'd enjoy that nice little tip. So I'm just gonna and toss it into my bowl. And when you're using 1/2 an avocado, always remember to use the half that does not have the pit in it. You want to keep the pit in the other half of the avocado, and it will stay fresher for longer. It won't turn brown as fast. So we've got our avocado in our bowl, and I'm going to start by mashing it with my fork. And you can use this is a great recipe for avocados that are getting super mushy, and even if there's little brown bits in there, that's not going to hurt you, because you can cover it up with lots of flavor and color and everything. But I go through avocado so fast that I rarely have an overripe avocado. And another trick is if you have an avocado that's not super ripe, you can just put it on the counter for a couple of days. Generally in an area that gets a little bit of sunshine is best. It will ripen faster that way. Leave it on for a couple of days. Don't forget about them. Check them. You can also keep them in a brown bag. A lot of people do that. On my countertop, I don't need to even use a brown bag because they ripen seriously so fast on my counter. And once they're ripe, and the ripeness that you're looking for is just when you press your thumb into it, it just slightly has a give. It shouldn't go really deep in and make a big crater, but it just has a little bit of give. And once you get that level of ripeness, then you want to just put them in your refrigerator, and they'll stay that ripe generally for a while, so up to a couple of weeks usually. So I've mashed my avocado here with my fork like so, and you can do it to whatever consistency you like. And then I'm gonna add in a little bit of lime juice and a little bit of cilantro. This is just chopped fresh cilantro. I'm gonna save a little bit for topping on top of my burrito bowl. We're going to do just a pinch of salt, and this is to taste. And then we'll do a little bit of garlic powder as well. So I use just it's garlic granules, garlic powder, whatever you have. If you are using, or if you only have garlic salt, then you want to omit the salt in the guacamole, otherwise it'll be way too salty. So I'm just going to do a little bit of garlic powder. You can totally use fresh minced garlic as well, but I just use the powder generally. And then I'm going to do a little bit of chopped shallot. So this is, you could use red onion. I just happen to have half of a shallot available. So red onion, or really any onion. Red onion and shallot tends to be the best for raw uses, but whatever you have on hand will suffice. And then I will be adding in a little bit of heat. So this is a serrano pepper. It looks like a little baby jalapeno pepper. Sometimes they're a lot longer and slimmer as well, but they're not quite as hot, and I just really like their flavor. I can't handle a lot of heat, so I like to do just a little bit, and these are so cute and yummy. So I'm just gonna slice off a couple of little slices here and mince them up. And then toss them in, and then obviously you can do as much or as little heat as you want. If you want more flavor and not as much heat, then you'll want to cut your pepper in half and remove all of the seeds and the membranes, and then chop it up and use just the outer layer. The seeds and the membranes have the most heat. So mashing, looking amazing. I'm gonna give it a taste. So good. I'm gonna add in a little bit more lime juice. The serrano pepper is so yummy. You have to try them if you haven't tried them. They're super flavorful. And obviously, if you don't want to go to this much work when you're making this, the burrito bowl itself, you could just do regular avocado or mashed avocado plain. So I'm gonna taste it again. So good. So there's our guacamole. So that is ready to go to top onto our burrito bowl when we're done. And I'm gonna use a little spatula. These things are awesome, these little spatulas, so that I get every last bite of my avocado, my guacamole. So good. All right, so that is done. So now we're going to make our dressing, and our, which our chickpeas are gonna marinate in. So these are some homemade chickpeas. You can totally use canned chickpeas. I made these in my Instant Pot, which I just recently borrowed, aka stole from my mom. And they turned out amazing, so I highly recommend it. And I just store them, this is an old pickle jar. I keep pretty much all glass jars left over, and I reuse them to store in the fridge. It's super convenient. You don't end up using all of your Tupperware, and jars, you know, are bigger up instead of out. Here we go again. And they're taller, so they don't take up as much space in the refrigerator. And so these are just saved in the chickpea brine. So I'm going to just scoop out probably about a 1/4 cup-ish of chickpeas, and I'm going to toss these into a mason jar. So we're going to make our dressing or marinade in the mason jar and let our chickpeas sit. And you could do this the day before, you could do this a week ahead, and we're just gonna quick marinate these for the purpose of the video, but it is ideal to marinate them in the dressing for 30 minutes, an hour, a couple of hours, or overnight. It would be really good. And you can do really any variation with this as well. So we've got our chickpeas in our mason jar. I'm going to add in some olive oil. So this will probably be about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. And use a good quality olive oil when you're doing dressings, because they have much better flavor. So we've got our olive oil in, and then we're going to add, I haven't chose my vinegar yet. Let's do some apple cider vinegar. So this is just an organic apple cider vinegar. They didn't have Bragg's where I was at. I think this might be Target. I don't know, they must have been out, but I generally use Bragg's, but this one's good as well. It has the mother, if you will, in the bottom, as you can see there. So I'm gonna add probably like couple teaspoons of the apple cider vinegar, and you can use any vinegar you have on hand if you don't have that. And then we're gonna juice one lime wedge. All right. And then we're gonna do about a 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We'll taste that later. And then some fresh cracked pepper right in there. And then you can add a little sweetness by doing a little bit of honey, or you can do, what I use generally is date syrup. So this is a new brand that I just tried. I got it on Amazon, but I'm just gonna do just a little touch. This has a 25% less sugar than honey, so that's why I generally stick with date syrup. So we have everything in, and we're just gonna shake it up. Shake, shake, shake. This is the fun part. And you know what? We forgot our shallots. They're sitting right here in front of me. So shallots. We're gonna add that in our dressing as well. You could use the red onion like we talked about before, or really any onion that you have on hand, but this is just has the best flavor. All right, shallots in, so we're gonna keep shaking. All right, so shaking it not only mixes it, but it starts to emulsify, and that is when the vinegar and the acids basically combine with the oils. And you get kind of like a creaminess in the dressing. So look at that. Does that look good? Yeah! I'm so excited. Okay, so dressing is done, our guac is done, and so now we're going to put together our burrito bowl. So I have a bowl here, voila. And then we're going to first do a layer of our brown rice. And I made the brown rice today in my Instant Pot. So I did 1 cup of brown rice, like dried brown rice, rinsed out in a fine mesh strainer over the sink, and then I added in about 1 cup rice, and then 1 cup and a 1/4 of veggie broth. You could also do water, and then about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And this is, you can't really tell, but this is a lot of rice that this made, and that was just 1 cup of dried rice. And it's so good. The broth gives it extra flavor. So I'm going to take about a cup of rice. I'm going to do a pretty big portion. You know, one thing to remember when you're eating plant-based, that you are generally going to get less calories from grains and vegetables. So meat and dairy are very high in calories and fats. So you really have to bulk up when you're not eating those things. And that is, a lot of people have a hard time with that when switching over to a plant-based diet, because, I mean, I had a hard time with that. I was starving all the time because I'd, you know, lived so much of my life like being, you know, afraid of big portions of carbs. So you really do have to kind of bulk up a little bit on the carbs. So again, we have our brown rice, and then we're going to add our beans. So I have, these is just, again, some leftover black beans we're going to toss in. It's probably like a 1/4-ish cup worth. And then we have our marinated chickpeas. And again, I would leave these in the fridge normally, but I'm going to go ahead and toss them right in, if I can get them out of the jar. So I'm going to take them out and leave the dressing in to pour over top once we're finished. So we've got our chickpeas in, and then I've got some chopped up or shredded lettuce and cabbage. I like a really crunchy lettuce, so I used iceberg, and my kids really like it too. And a little bit of green cabbage. I added some tomatoes, and then we're gonna do our big dollop of guac. And a little bit of our chopped cilantro. Not me. I'm gonna add a squeeze of for all this goodness, and then take our dressing and pour it over. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. All right, and voila. There we go. Look at that amazingness. We've got guac falling over. We've got our beans, we've got our rice, we've got our marinated chickpeas, a little bit of guacamole. Oh my god, it's so good. And the rice is still warm from just being cooked. It's amazing. And there you have it. You know, if you wanted to, you could add things like sour cream or cheese, but honestly, you guys, it does not need it. This is amazing. It's so much food, it's so filling, and it's gonna keep me held over until dinner tonight, most likely. So, yeah, there we go. Bean and brown rice burrito bowl. Enjoy.